Yes, good evening. This is Professor Tajas Khazin connecting with you from Ottawa, Canada. And today is Thursday, the 9th of November, 2023. And in this video, as I promised in video number 44, that I have already shared with you, that I will do a thorough explanation of why am I hammering on this issue of the quality of public address by the president and the lack of support or ignorance to give that support by the staff in the presidency. The way this man is subjected to this kind of criticism is not fair on him. And things could have been done better. He could have read the speeches 10 times before. They could have been written in a board in front of him in very large letters. There are different ways of doing that. Somebody else could have delivered that. Where are the vice presidents? Why is it that he's the one who is always traveling? And look at now, look at how he traveled to Kenya, then he traveled to New York, then he traveled to Moscow, and then he traveled to Egypt, and now he's traveling to Saudi Arabia. And the funny thing is that in Saudi Arabia, the main meeting has been cancelled. The main meeting has been cancelled. It is not now the Arab states with Africa. It is Saudi Arabia with all Africa, one country with 54 countries. Why on earth would I go to such a meeting? But anyway, that's not our subject today. I want to take you back to video number 44. And when you listen to this one, I would like you to take notes and then go back to see exactly how the president performed in video number 44. I am sorry it is a little bit cumbersome, but if I could do it, then anyone who's interested can do it. Right. The length of the video 44 was 42 minutes and 4 seconds. I want you to go to the time 7 minutes and 54. So from the start until 7 minutes 54, you will find the time at the bottom of the video. He wet the paper with his finger and put it in his tongue to turn the page, and he had a very long pause. I mean, you don't do that in public. You don't wet the paper with your saliva. Then go to 12 minutes, 33 minutes, 33 seconds to see how he's struggling with the subject. He didn't have a clue what he was talking about. And that's very unfair. Then go to 13 minutes, 34 seconds to see the looks of boredom on the faces of the two young representatives. Now, this is in Kenya. This is in Kenya on climate and climate change. Go to 14 minutes, 11 seconds. Again, he's wetting his finger and he has a long pause. Go to 14:21. Look at the look on the faces of the two men, one wearing a black hat. I don't know if the staff of the presidency follows up these things so that they improve their performance and the performance of the president in the future. Or is it just they don't care, they just want to pocket the per diem money in US dollars? Then go to 15 minutes, 35, 39 seconds and look at how he stumbles. Go to 16 minutes, 30 seconds and see the looks on the faces of William Ruto and Musa Faki. I mean, if they were bored and wondering what he was saying, what about everybody else? What is the value of sending this delegation if these two main figures in the African Union have that attitude? Go to 17 minutes, 53 seconds, and the look on the woman's face and the face of the person sitting next to her. People are talking and playing with their iPhones. What an insult. Go to 19 minutes, 0 seconds, 3 seconds, and see the look of boredom on Paul Kagame of Rwanda. Go to 19 minutes, 19 seconds, up to 20 minutes, 17 seconds. He did not seem to understand what he was talking about. That's only one country, and I am not finished yet. We need to get this right, and we need to follow it up to keep his grace. That's the main objective. This is not negative criticism. This is positive criticism. United Nations 78, New York, September. You know, this is a continuum. I had all the three presentations in one YouTube. So go to 21 minutes, 28 seconds, and up to 22 minutes, 07 seconds. Then go to 22 minutes, 40 seconds, and up to 23 minutes, 42 seconds. And then go to 24, 35 seconds, up to 24, 55 seconds. And then go to 25, 40, up to 25, 44. He's struggling. He's struggling to pronounce. He's struggling to put the words together. He's struggling looking at the papers. The same 2605 to 2615. And then the big out of place statement is at 2812 to 2905 when he requested that the armed embargo be lifted. I mean, somebody needs to tell this man that this is not the way to do it. The arms embargo is not going to be lifted like that. The arms embargo is part of the sanctions, one part of the sanctions. And the sanctions are by the United Nations. Listen to me very well. By the United Nations, by the United States, by the United Kingdom, by Australia, by Sweden, and a host of other countries. The sanctions are not only the UN. A lot of countries signed on, and they said they are obliged, Canada, that they are obliged by the resolution of the Security Council. And a lot of the people in the sanctions are holding ministerial jobs or holding senior advisors at the presidency, and they are on the sanctions list. How do you expect the sanctions to be lifted, the arms embargo, just to be singled out like that and removed? That's not going to happen. Dr. Francis Deng made this very clear to the president. So for heaven's sake, those who write for the president, they need to understand the international procedures and the international diplomacy. We have not signed on the Vancouver Principles yet as I speak now. And the Minister for Presidential Affairs did not know that until I confirmed it to him. He thought it was signed on and he was wrong, and he's wrong today. So all the sanctions from the United Nations, the US, and the other countries need to be brought down, and a team made up of experts need to study them and to put a plan on how to deal with them, how to meet the sanctions so that the arms embargo can be lifted. Otherwise, the arms embargo is not going to be lifted. And then Moscow, the biggest fiasco. When he went to Moscow, again, go back to the main YouTube, number 44. Is it 44? Let me make sure. Yeah, it is number 44. And go to minute 32 to minute 32:13. Look at the unfortunate mess when he was unable to put the uh, the hearing aid in his ear. He completely failed. He didn't know what to do, and it fell out. It fell off him. Nobody from his side, from his entourage, came to help him. Nobody told him this was going to happen. Nobody did an interview before that so that he knows exactly what to do with the earpiece. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's negligence. That is serious negligence on their duties towards their president. And then one of the main points of President Putin is in minute 36 to minute 36, 9 seconds, when he said he would like to get the views of the president. Putin wanted to get the views of the president on the regional landscape. And President Kiir did not address that at all. Not one word. He did not address one word of that. And this was the main issue for President Putin. Go to minute 37, 17 seconds to minute 37, 24 seconds. Hesitation, and he was talking about the other meeting. That was a very bad statement. What other meeting? Are we having meetings that are secret? Are we going to ask for arms from Russia? I mean, if my mind could wonder, what about the mind of people like the FBI and the CIA? That was not right. This should not have been said. If there were other meetings, they needed to stay confidential. Then go to 37:35 to 37:40. Look at the looks on the staff faces. I mean, the staff were wondering what on earth is going on. What the hell is this man saying? Just roll back and see the look on their faces. How do they do business with South Sudan if this is what they see from the president of the country? And then go to 38:12 to 38:19. This was the biggest blunder when he said, "We do not see any alternative besides you." I repeat, he was addressing Putin and Russia, and this is the president of South Sudan, and he said, "We do not see any alternative beside you." And since 2005, there were 8 or 9 Western countries from Europe and North America who were feeding the people of South Sudan while their government was onlooking. Yes, sir. How do these countries feel when there is such lack of gratitude and the president of the country on the record, if I have it, then everybody has it, on the record is saying that we don't see any friends beside you? What will the Netherlands do now? What will the United States do? The biggest donor to South Sudan. Unbelievable generosity. And this is what they get, that they don't see any friend beside Russia who is just climbing the steps in the relationship with South Sudan. That was most unfortunate. That was undiplomatic. If I were Salva Kiir, I would fire the person who wrote that letter or who wrote that statement, and I don't know else what I will do to him. Well, Mr. President, you have a lot of respect for your role as a freedom fighter and as a veteran. However, listen well to me. If those who are in the cabinet now and those who are in the seats, when they were in the bush, If they thought that they were fighting so that they rule South Sudan until they die, then they are not really heroes. They're not, they're opportunists. You fight for the freedom of your country because that is the right thing to do for the benefit of your people, not so that you get a position and you sit on the same chair for 20 years. That's not the objective. Then that kind of person is an opportunist. He's not a freedom fighter and he's not a hero. Point one. Point two, a good freedom fighter, a good general is not necessarily a good politician and is not necessarily a good minister. Point three, I don't blame the ministers. The president has been firing and hiring like mad. Every 2 or 3 days, somebody is fired and somebody is hired. Pretty soon, we'll have more fired people in the streets than people in the cabinet. And that will be very dangerous. Why is that happening? The reason is there are no policy directives. These guys come in, and the person who left gives the impression that, well, now I am going to do magic. That guy was an idiot, and now I'm a genius. I'm going to do magic. And he can't. He can't. Probably the person who left is better than him. There are no policy guidelines and directives coming out of the presidency because the presidency is weak. There is no technical, economic, cultural knowledge within the presidency to give guidance to the president. Well, I hope you make use of that. And I came back and I will continue this line. As I said, and I repeat, the objective really is to preserve the grace of the president. And we have the right, we the people, we have the right to criticize anybody in the public domain. Otherwise, pack up and go home. Stay well and God bless South Sudan.